The palace walls have always whispered secrets, but never have they echoed a tale as dark, as gut-wrenching, and as destabilizing as King Charles, already weakened by a harrowing illness that has left him visibly frail and fighting for his very breath, now finds himself facing an even more sinister enemy, betrayal, and not from distant foes or political rivals, but from within the very bloodline he has. This is not just a royal crisis. It is a Shakespearean tragedy unfolding in real time, a sovereign battling both the decay of the body and the treachery. The whispers began quietly, almost like a breeze through the ancient corridors of Buckingham. Courtiers noticed the king's absence from several key engagements. His once firm handshake had become light, his voice, though still commanding, carried the tremble of it. Speculation about his health grew louder, though the palace issued only vague reassurances. His Majesty is under medical supervision but continues to fulfill. What they did not say, and what insiders have since revealed, is that the king was enduring a relentless illness, one that sapped his strength. Yet while his body waged war against disease, a darker plot brewed in the shadow. Family dinners became tense, closed-door meetings more frequent. Those once considered confidants grew distant, their whispers cut off when the king. He may have been a monarch battling a private health war, but he was also a man increasingly surrounded by shifting loyalties and eyes that no longer reflected trust. The betrayal, when it came, was as shocking as it was cold-blooded. According to a highly placed source within the royal household, a relative, long trusted, long embraced as part of the king's inner circle, had been quietly maneuvering behind. Documents were leaked, alliances forged with outside players, and a plan to undermine the king's authority was set into motion at the very moment he was least able to defend him. It was a dagger in the dark, the source said, and it was plunged in when he was already. The nature of the betrayal remains cloaked in official secrecy, but those familiar with the inner workings of the monarchy describe it as a strike at both his reputation and his financial dealings, twisted to paint him as indulgent. Health details whispered to fuel speculation. Promises made in private, broken in public. The king, who had once spoken of unity and continuity, found his very legacy being chipped away. What makes this betrayal even more devastating is its origin. This was not the act of a rival monarch or a hostile. This was family. Blood of his blood. Someone who had sat at his table, smiled in official portraits, sworn loyalty before the world, now revealed as the architect of his. The palace has not named names, but insiders describe the king's reaction as one of profound shock, followed by a cold, simmering. He feels as though the knife was twisted by a hand he once held, and as news of the king's declining health merged with rumors of the betrayal, the nation was thrown into a state of uneasy fascination. Crowds outside Buckingham Palace spoke in hushed tones, the tabloids turned their front pages into battlegrounds of speculation. Who had betrayed the king? Was it driven by ambition, revenge, or survival? And perhaps more hauntingly, how long had this treachery been festering under the very roof he called home? Those close to the monarch say his illness has taken a visible toll. Weight loss, fatigue, and frequent absences from the public eye have only fueled. Yet, they also speak of a man who, in the face of both physical and emotional assault, has grown strangely sharp. He is not the same king he was 6 months ago, one courtier revealed. The betrayal has hardened. The illness has stripped away the courtesies. What is left is a man who knows he has little time and even less patience for. The question now is what happens next. The royal household is known for its discretion, for sweeping scandals under velvet rugs, for turning private wars into public. But this time, the stakes are too high, the wounds too fresh, the vultures too. Abdication whispers swirl in the press, fueled by those who say the king no longer has the strength to continue. Others argue that to step down now would hand victory to those who betrayed him, and King Charles, for all his ailments, is not a man who bows to treachery. Behind closed doors, the family is said to be in disarray. Meetings once marked by ceremony are now described as interrogation. Lines have been drawn, and alliances are shifting like sand in a storm. Some relatives have reportedly cut off direct communication with the monarch, fearing that even proximity could taint their own position. Others cling more tightly than ever, pledging loyalty in the hopes that the king will remember their names when the reckoning. For the king himself, the emotional toll has been brutal. Those who have seen him in private describe long silences, moments of visible pain that have nothing to do with his physical. He trusted them, said a senior aide. He carried them with him through the hardest years of his life, through the transition of the throne, through the loss of the late queen. And now he sits in the same rooms, surrounded by the same walls, wondering who else is sharpening their. The betrayal has also thrown the future of the monarchy into question. Plans for succession, long kept in careful drafts, may be accelerated. Advisors once considered untouchable are now under scrutiny. There is even talk of a complete restructuring of the royal household, a purge of those whose loyalties wavered when the king faltered. And what of the people? Public sentiment, always a fickle tide, has begun to. The image of a frail king battling illness while being undermined by his own blood has stirred something in the national psyche, not just outrage, but a kind of protective indignation. He may be a monarch, one supporter said, but he's also a man. And to betray a man when he's sick, that's beyond politics. That's cruelty. As the story continues to unfold, one truth has become clear: this is no longer a matter of private grievance. It is a public reckoning, and its ripples will be felt far beyond the gilded gates of Buckingham. For the first time in decades, the monarchy itself seems fragile, not because of outside forces, but because of the rot that has been allowed to take root. King Charles, ever the statesman, has not yet spoken directly of the betrayal. His public statements remain measured, his smiles carefully arranged for the cameras. But those who know him say the fire has not gone out. It has only gone inward. He is planning, a source said. He is waiting for the moment when the truth can be told, and when it is, it will be a thunderclap. Until that moment comes, the palace remains a theater of shadows, illness gnawing at the king's body, betrayal haunting his halls, and the nation watching with. Will he recover, rise, and strike back? Or will the daggers of those closest to him finish what the illness began? What is certain is that history will remember this chapter, not for the grandeur of its ceremonies, but for the coldness of its knife.